Hi everyone, how you guys doing? Everybody good? Great. So my name's Dom, you guys know me, right? I'm going to talk to you about plagiarism and academic misconduct. Now I know before in orientation you went to a presentation about plagiarism. Can anybody remember what plagiarism was? Who wants to volunteer?
Like a cheating,
Sorry?
like a cheating.
It's a form of cheating, right? Okay. And what about the word misconduct? What is misconduct?
Mistake.
Yeah, something that you shouldn't do, right? Or doing something in the inappropriate way. Okay. So as you know, in Suffolk, you're going to be asked to write a lot of things, essays, paragraphs, even sentences, right? Trying to do research for your projects or for other assignments that your teacher gives you. And you're also going to be speaking. So a lot of people don't know this, but you can also cheat, not only when you write, but when you speak. So if I say some information that is not my own, from my own brain or my own mind, then that's cheating too, if I don't say where I got the information. So whether you write or speak, you need to tell people where the information came from, okay? So we're going to talk about what plagiarism is. And then we're going to talk about citation. Does anybody know what citation is? Citation is what you do and how you write where the information that you got came from. So for example, if I told you that in 2009, Boston was not a city in 2009, maybe something changed, okay? Or in 2009, Boston had 10 McDonald's and now it has 30 McDonald's. How do I know that? Maybe I read it in a book or I got it from a website, but I need to tell you where I got that information. Because otherwise you could think I'm lying, or if Peter said that information, I could steal that information from Peter, right? I have to tell you that Peter told me that. And then at the end, after I show you how to write where the information came from and what you should do in the proper way, so you don't have academic misconduct, we're going to take a quiz. It's going to be a Kahoot quiz. Are you all familiar with Kahoot? Yes. Okay. Great. You should be. So, right. If not, I can show you really quick, or one of your partners. All right. So I want you to take about just a few minutes, and I want you to read these 5 situations. And with the person next to you, I want you to guess if this is plagiarism, if it's right or wrong to do in your class. Okay, so just take a few minutes and then tell me yes or no if this is plagiarism, if it's right or wrong. And if you don't understand the word, let me know. You guys can talk with each other if you want to decide. Or does anybody think they know the first one? All right, Peter, you're shaking your head. Would you like to tell me?
I think it's not good.
Not good.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you can copy the paragraph from the
Very good. It's not yours, right? Yep. It's not your paragraph. And Brian, what about number 2?
It's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
And change many words and yeah.
Right.
And
So-
when you use paragraph from a website, you need and enter the link.
Yes, very good. You need to say the website that you got the information from. So even though you changed many words, that information is still not from your head. It's not your information, okay? It doesn't matter that you changed the words. You still didn't get it from another one. What about number 3? Who would like to try? What was your name? I'm sorry.
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you tell me about number 3?
I think it's if the narrator write about the idea where it's come from, I think it's okay because they write their own idea too.
Okay, so you think number 3 is okay?
Yeah, if they write a website like if they write the name of the website.
Okay, if they write the name of the website, right, good. As the situation is here, I used the website to write my report and added my own ideas. It's still cheating because I didn't tell you what the website was. Number 4?
Yeah, definitely not.
Definitely not, very quick,
Yeah, that's easy.
very quick answer, okay? Very easy, you
Yeah.
cannot copy someone's answers. And even you can't copy someone's homework, tests, nothing, right? And number 5? No. Although people think this is okay because maybe you paid money for it, so you say, oh, I paid money, so it must be okay, right? So, but no, it's not because you still didn't write it, right? The person who you gave the money to is not going to school, you are, right? So you have to do it yourself, okay? Good job. So there's a little funny, picture here, and the student's like, why did I get an F on my paper, right? I copied everything off the internet, it must be right. But it's not his work, right? So that's why he failed. What do you think can happen? What do you think could happen if the teacher thinks you cheated or if you plagiarized?
Get a low grade.
Get a lower grade, great. What else?
Maybe fail.
Yeah.
Fail. Fail the class?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's maybe the worst thing that can happen to you?
Fire from school.
Okay, you can get expelled from school, right? Or fired, as you said, yes. Right, if you think of school as your job, you get fired from your job, right? So we use the word expelled. You will be thrown out of school. Yeah. Usually, you might not get expelled immediately. You might have a warning. It depends on how serious what you did, how serious you do it. If you did it many times, okay. Sometimes the teacher will tell you why you did something wrong. Maybe you didn't know, but they'll always talk to you, but you should always be aware of what's going on. So we'll never just say, oh, see you later, you can't come anymore. We'll tell you why. Good, so those 3 things, very nice. Remember those. So plagiarism, to just remember briefly, is passing in a paper you didn't write yourself, okay? Using somebody else's ideas without giving them credit or telling people where you got the information from. And basically, when you copy or paraphrase, what does paraphrase mean? Does anybody know? Paraphrase means that if you read something in a book and I tell you, please tell me what the book says, you don't repeat exactly the words from the book. You change the words in your mind and then tell me. Okay, so for example, if in the book you read, or in the website you read, today is a day with above average temperature for Boston's history, right? Then you say, Dominic, what did the website say? I say to you, today is a very hot day that people usually don't see in Boston. Okay? Same information. I changed the words, but that information did not come from me, right? Okay. So even if I do that, I have to tell you the website that I got it from. Any questions? No? Great. Those are doing great. So citation is, and I'm going to show you how to do proper citation. There are some parts to it, but basically you're telling people where you got the information. And usually the teacher will ask you to do this in two places, and I'll show you in a minute, but you're going to do it in the writing. So if you write a paragraph, if you write an essay, you're going to write the information inside the paragraph, inside the essay. And then when you finish your paper, you will do it at the end as well. So you'll have a short citation, and then you'll have a longer citation at the end. So two places, okay? And there are many ways to cite, but basically all citations include the author, the person who wrote the information, the title, the name of the story or website or book that the information came from, and the date that the information was available, right? So if I tell you, back to the example about the temperature. If I tell you today that the temperature is too hot for Boston, you're like, oh, Dominic, I don't believe you. That seems strange. It's been very cold in Boston, right? You ask me, when did you get that information? Oh, and I told you this information is from 1973, right? Like 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Could I use that information to talk about temperature?
No,
No, why not?
because it's not in the same time. It's like
Yeah, it's too old, right? It's too old. So you want to use information that is, we could say, relevant or important to people, or that people can understand, okay? So that's why we put the date. So, and also maybe the teacher says, or whoever reads your paper says, wow, that's really interesting information. I want to go see it. I want to go look more. I want to find out more information about the temperature of Boston. They can go to where you told them. They can look at the author, the title, the date, and they can find the information. This has two jobs. One, they know that you're not lying. You know, they say, oh, Four actually did his homework and he did it correctly. And number two, maybe they think, they don't believe it, that the temperature is what you said it is. They can research more if they're interested, okay? And then there's other information that I'm going to show you what it includes. So pretend that we're writing about cell phones and good students and bad students, okay? So if I'm writing an essay or a paragraph and I have to express my opinion about if students that get good grades use their cell phone, or students that get good grades don't use their cell phone. We have to talk about the connection, right? So I say to you, the link between cell phone use and grade point average, which is your GPA or your grades when you finish a semester, or Suffolk quarterly, needs further investigation. So this is just from my mind, my opinion. I didn't look it up anywhere. I didn't read a book. I didn't use a website. I don't have to use citation for this because it's my idea. Right? And you can see it says no quotation marks. Okay, quotation marks, maybe you know these, are when people do this with their hands, it means that somebody said those words. And when we write, you write 2 lines on the left of the word and 2 lines on the right, meaning that whatever is between those lines is what the person said, not you, but somebody else. And I'm going to show you an example of quotation marks. Now, as you can see, right here, these are quotation marks, okay? That means that negatively predictive of overall grade point average, those words were said by somebody, not me. I'm just writing it down. Who were they said by? This person. And this person is the author. They have a weird name, but pretend it's your name, okay? So
What's 19 mean?
19 means the page number.
Oh,
Page number from the book. Now, good questions. This is what's called in-text citation because it's inside your work. Okay, so this is a short one. The longer one comes at the end of the paper, where you have all the information: author, title, date, okay, everything. And I'll show you how you're going to connect the two when we're finished. So this one says the same information as I said before. Good students use cell phone. Good students or bad students use cell phones, and there's a connection, right? This one too. This one says that we found information that if you use a cell phone, you get lower grades. Okay. Now, because I got it from a book, I have to use the author, the page number, and I have to put quotes because he said that. I didn't say it. Okay. And then the third way, is information that you got from the book. I changed the words, not my words, but not my idea. Okay? So I don't have to use quotation marks, but I paraphrased. When you paraphrase something, it means changing the words from somebody else. Okay? But same idea. So all 3 examples that I showed you tell you that there's a connection between using a cell phone and your grades. But the first one was from my brain. Second one was the author's exact words from his mouth. And this third one is the author's idea, but my words of what I think he's saying. Okay. Any questions on that? You know, that's a lot of information. Very good. Now, like I told you, I'm gonna send you this information, but basically there are a few ways, a few rules to cite, okay? Your teacher will tell you which way they would like you to do it. The way I reviewed today is the APA style. So APA stands for American Psychological Association. Usually, if you study business students use this style, okay? If you study foreign languages, like if you want to study Spanish or French, you would use another form called MLA. But they're really similar, really similar. They have the same information, author, title, date, you know, all the things we talked about. And there are many websites that if you forget, you can go look and they'll tell you how to do it. Okay. So, and I'm going to show you just a brief. This is just an example. If you use information from a book, you write the author first, then the year of the book, then the title of the book. Right? and the city where the book was made or published. If you use an online newspaper or website, right? Let's say newspaper online. Author, year, the title, and the name of the newspaper. Okay, and because it's on the internet, you have to use the website. So retrieved means where did I get it from? So you see, even though there are different things that you got the information from, book, newspaper, website, the information that you want to tell people is the same. What is the name? Who wrote it? When, what time is it from? So the information is mostly the same, okay? And I just have a few other examples, like even if you use music, you know, sometimes maybe in your presentation, you have music. Or if you speak with somebody, so in some of my classes, I say, please go interview somebody. And can you remind me of your name? Ryan says, you know, I spoke to this person and he said that, you know, he said that there are 300 trees in Boston. Okay. He needs to tell us who that person is and when they spoke to him. Because if there are not 300 trees in Boston, then his report is not correct, right? So, okay. So remember I told you there are two places that you need to put your citation where you got your information. One is called in text. So if we look at the message from a book that we got. So the first sentence, some would further argue that it is ethically blah, 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 right? You don't need to worry about that. That's from my head, my words. Then the quotations allow a scarce natural resource that is essential to human life. So this is about, you know, the environment or biology, something like that. So quotation, because those words came from somebody else, not me. Where did I get those words? From an author whose last name was Brick, from page 37. That's the short in citation. When you finish your paper, at the end, you're going to put list of works cited. Sometimes it's called reference page. So reference page or list of works cited, okay? It has all of the information, like I showed you before. Because this is like a book or a magazine or something, right? So who wrote it? The name of the author is Jennifer H. Brick. Brick, see? So short one, long one. The name of her story or her book or whatever it is she wrote is called Bottled Gold, Water, Poverty, and the Corporation of Natural Resources. What city is it from? Toronto. Does anybody know where Toronto is?
Yes.
Where?
Canada.
Canada, great. This is the name of the company that made the book. So the author is working with this company, and together they made the book for people to buy. And the year is 2012, okay? And it's print. Print means that it was an actual book, not on the internet, but an actual like paper book, okay? Any questions on that? Now, as you continue in Suffolk, you might notice that this is not always, the year might be here or the title might be after. That's because sometimes the rules change, right? The information will stay the same, but maybe you need to put the year first, then the title, or then the city. But this information is usually the same, just in different order. But your teacher will always tell you, so don't worry. And you can also use the websites to find out too.
But why if we like go some details, like if we can find out where's like the publication city is?
Because sometimes maybe the person would wanna get the book and maybe they
Yeah, I mean,
can't,
like if we like can't find where is it?
if you can't find where
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
that's
we just
okay.
lose like some details.
Yeah, you can put, there's a way you can write like information not available or not given. Okay, so that's a good question. The most important part is that you put as much information that you have. Okay, because if you tell me this author wrote it and you tell me the name, right? At least I know that you are giving somebody else the credit. You didn't say to me, oh, I wrote this paper. No, I know that you are trying to give credit to somebody. Okay. Remember, if you give your teacher a paper and you say, I wrote this paper, and they say, no, you didn't, you don't have any information, that is much worse than if you say, Dominic, this person helped, I got this information from this person, but I don't know what city. I say, that's okay. Probably the teacher will say, that's okay, or they will help you find it. But the honesty, you being honest is the most important part, okay? All right. Who's ready to have the quiz? Right, it's going to be fun. Can everybody go to Kahoot? And do you have any questions before we start about anything? No? Okay, well, you guys are great students. Oh. I'm just gonna put in the password here. Anybody needs help, please let me know. You want to go to kahoot.it. And if the person next to you knows the website, please help the other person. Now, as you're signing in, the question should be from everything we talked about. If there's something you don't remember, or maybe I didn't say it, I forgot, just guess, okay? There's about 20 seconds for each question. Somebody who likes food, great. I think we're missing one person. Okay, so we should have 9, we only have 8. Somebody not on? Great, good luck. Hey, not bad. All of that is plagiarism. Wow, NC in the lead. I don't know who that is, but good job. Okay, great. Boston is the capital of Massachusetts. That's common knowledge, right? Because it doesn't change and it's been there for a long time. See you again. All right. Somebody's got to beat NC. Okay. I hope everybody gets this one. Nice. Great. Quotes means quotation marks. So yeah, you don't want to change what the author wrote. Awesome. There's a good at this. Let's see. So this is the final question. So, oh, actually, two more. I'm sorry. I forgot the time. Great. All right, final question. See who the champion will be. All right, great. Let's see. Third place, Kelvin. All right. Second, Barry, John. And the winner. Good job. Great job. And good job to 4 and C too. All right. So let me. So that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, well, thanks very much. I hope that was helpful. And remember, just ask your teachers if you have any questions. All right, have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.